Hey guys, welcome to Blockchain Reaction, where we analyze different companies that run off the blockchain.
If you like this kind of content, please remember to like our channel and subscribe and leave us comments below.
So what are we looking at this week? Which company?
We're going to look at Steemit, which is a blogging and social media blockchain website. It's supposed to be something kind of like Reddit or Facebook or YouTube with videos, blogs.
Yeah, I got the feeling it was more of a YouTube. That's the feel I got for it. Because you go on the home page and basically you just see a bunch of videos, it seems.
Right. And I kept thinking that it was a blockchain version of YouTube, but they try to make it sound like it's more social media and blogging.
Which I don't get that feel at all.
Right.
It just seems like YouTube, but run off the blockchain. On their homepage, answering the question, what is Steemit? They say, self-defined as, Steemit has redefined social media by building a living, breathing, and growing social economy, a community where users are rewarded for sharing their voice. It's a new kind of attention economy. So that's what they have defined their platform as, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah, and one of the big ideas behind it is Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, all these companies, the people using those platforms are generating the content and generating the value of the sites.
Mm-hmm.
Steemit's idea is that the people generating the value should be the ones seeing the returns on what they're creating. So whereas Facebook and Twitter get all the money from building these communities and having this content generated, Steemit wants to have that money go back to the users through their blockchain algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
So would you like to explain the tokens?
Yeah, so they have smart media tokens, and it runs off of like a proof of brain idea. But I believe there are 3 different tokens you can get. One is the Steem token, and that's just the base liquid currency on the platform. And then they have Steem Power. That's a reward, I guess I should say. And they also have Steem Dollars, which is SBD on the marketplace. And the SPD, the Steem Dollars, is supposed to correlate to $1 US.
Right.
The Steem token can be powered up into Steem Power, traded for Steem Dollars, or transferred into other accounts. And the Steem Power is basically how much influence you have on the network, right?
Right, and the Steem Power is vested for 13 weeks. Mm-hmm. So that's what you can use, and you need that to vote and to make comments and basically to participate in the community.
Mm-hmm. And the Steem Dollars, I believe that if you can see the Steemit page, homepage, you see that there's all the dollar signs here.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't that the Steem Dollars that are supposed to correlate to $1 US?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. And that's supposed to be how much money you get after, I believe it's a week of posting, right?
Right. So it's interesting. Some of these generate, I mean, you see one there that's almost $200.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks like there's some activity going on. But it looks like almost all the content is centered around coins and tokens.
So. Exactly. I mean, this is like purely a blockchain YouTube.
Yeah. So if I remember right, whenever you create a new account, you have to either put money into it or wait a certain amount of time before you can participate.
Yeah.
What happens whenever you wait a certain amount of time? Do you build up some value over time? I can't remember.
No, I think the reason why you had to wait was because it cost money for them to add you or do something with the blockchain. So
yeah. Oh, that's right.
By waiting, I think it was 2 weeks or something, a week. So by waiting that time, they were able to do it cheaply. But if you wanted to immediately get on the website, you had to pay for it yourself.
Right, and part of that was they were saying, what do you call it, like a customer acquisition cost.
Yeah.
So that was their justification. And you have to have enough funds whenever you start a new account to at least participate. And that's on a weekly cycle, so you need to have enough funds
So I'm going to compare that to, yeah, here it is. Can you see my page?
Yeah.
Sign up options, blah, blah, blah. It's not a typical social app powered by the Steem blockchain. Sign up for free, 1 to 2 weeks. We were happy. Yeah, so that's the reason we're happy to cover this fee. It could take 1 to 2 weeks, or you can do it yourself and sign up instantly.
So this is an interesting thing with the tokens, and it seems to be kind of complicated. So you'll sign up. They give you, I assume, Steem, which then you're going to have to turn into Power Steem.
Yeah.
And
Steem Power, yeah.
Or Steem Power, and you need at least enough to participate in something over the course of a week. And it sounds like if you go in and upvote some things or leave some comments, you're going to run out of power for the week and have to wait for it to recharge so that you can continue participating.
And what they have too, which was interesting, let me get to it on my screen, but they have, it's explained almost as like a video game health bar. You have a certain amount of votes that you can do per day. I think it was like 10. Yeah, the mana. What is my voting mana? Voting mana is like an energy bar in a computer game that goes down a little bit every time you vote. So your first vote has the most influence, and then as it goes down, so does your influence with each vote. So, I mean, you only get a certain amount of votes per day. Eventually, if you get enough Steem power, you can adjust that. So right here is where you can adjust how much influence each vote has after you get 500 Steem power. So yeah, that's another interesting thing about this website.
Right, and that Steem power, it says once you reach 500 Steem power, but that goes down too, doesn't it? So you'll be using your Steem power. I wonder what happens when you drop below 500 if you then...
Then you don't get this little slider thing, I don't believe.
It just drops, okay.
Yeah, then it just goes back to all of this where you get a certain percentage for each vote, and it goes down as your mana goes down. So I guess that's where the influence comes for Steem power, or part of it. What do you think about that method?
Well, honestly, I was gonna save to bring this up in a later part of the video, but it just seems so complicated.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how many casual users you're gonna get when they have to figure out how to get Steem turned into Steem power and then cash it out through the SBD coins that are shown there.
Talk about that later.
Yeah.
There's the issues with this website.
Yeah, that was the section I was saving that for.
Okay. Yeah, we can wait on that. Part of it, and not all of it, but a certain portion of the daily pool goes to rewards, right? 75% goes to the author, 25% goes to the curator.
Wait, no, yeah, 25% goes to a curator. I wonder who the curator is. What is a curator in this context?
The curator, I believe, are the people who upvote.
They're the ones that upvote? That's interesting.
Yeah. So, like, if you see here, the split of the 25% that the curator receives in the first 15 minutes is calculated based off of upvotes within a certain time period. So, again, it's a time dependent on how much you get, and that percentage is really arbitrary, and at least it seems to be arbitrary, and you have to be on the site all the time. I mean, you have 1.5 minutes to get 10% of the 90% that remains in the rewards pool. If you upvote after 7.5 minutes,
yeah, that's really short.
50%, the 50%. I mean, it's just really complicated.
And you were saying proof of brain at the beginning of the video, and that's how you add blocks to the blockchain in this case. So it's not proof of work. That's whenever new content is added, new blocks are added to the blockchain.
Yeah.
And then the rewards are paid out this way, it seems like, so the percentage.
Yeah. So that's how the tokens are used, and it has all this information on how you can convert them to the SBD and then turn that into Bitcoin or US dollars, whatever it is. Um, so yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, again, it seems too complicated to build a really large user base unless
Mm-hmm.
it works well enough without you having to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know most people I know, I think, don't even really balance a budget, every month, and
Yeah, so
so
how they're gonna keep up on this?
yeah, all this like, oh, they've got 10% for 1.5 minutes, which then drops to like this much percent. And,
Yeah.
um, so we found a news article that said in November they've lost, what was it, 70%
It
of
was
their workforce,
70%. Yeah.
and they got a new CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And looking at forums and news from around that time and following that time, it looks like the site is kind of going downhill. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
um,
It seemed like this site really bubbled when Bitcoin bubbled. Would you agree?
yeah, that's what it looked like.
Yeah. And recently, everything's been going down in the cryptocurrency market. So this site's going down, has been going down as well.
Yes, I think they lost a lot of users and a lot of their
Mm-hmm.
value for their
Yeah, I read
tokens.
online that they had 12 full-time employees right now.
Okay, they're down to 12 people.
Yeah, which it seems like the entire cryptocurrency market, like I said, is going downhill. But all those companies that are running off of them, they just can't keep up because it's so oversaturated right now with all these different types of tokens.
Yeah, and it seems like they're still trying to figure things out
Yeah.
so much that I don't know. You got how many social media blockchain websites competing with each other,
Mm-hmm.
and then well, as we brought up the complications in this one,
Yeah.
yeah, they need to find an easier way to implement this stuff. It seems like if they want it to appeal to a broad audience.
Yeah. And that's the issue, is that it's a very small audience that they have right now.
So another thing that's happened since the company's gone downhill is they've started allowing ads on their site.
Oh yeah. What do you think
And
about that?
oh, that's interesting. So their original goal was to not have that, so that would differentiate them from these other platforms. But I guess they couldn't get around it, and they're hoping that that generates value for the site. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. I mean, ads are annoying, but they're kind of a necessary evil in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
oh, go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that was the new CEO, Elizabeth Powell. I'm pretty sure that's her idea.
Uh,
I think I read online about that. But I mean, they kind of have their hands tied. They laid off 70% of their employees because they couldn't meet their financial goals. And they got to do something different.
yeah, it's an easy way to get some money.
Yeah. But in a sense, that kind of shows the flawed business model, that they're going against something that they specifically didn't want to do.
Yeah, I agree. There's so many holes. It seems like I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know how any company. So I've seen other companies. In fact, I worked for one for a few months, which I kind of didn't want to get into. But
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't seem like it works even from the inside. I don't know.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the place that I worked. That was not a good job.
Yeah, I remember you talking about that. The place that will remain nameless.
Yeah.
Remain nameless.
So first of all, uh, to get value out of Steemit, you have to invest a lot of money, it seems like, or put in a lot of time writing blog articles or creating content.
Yeah.
And that in combination with voting and leaving comments, because you don't, I think your payouts get hurt if you're not doing all three things, or at least two of those things. You have to leave comments and vote,
Mm-hmm.
and then you also have to create content.
Yeah, you have to be really active on the site.
Yeah. And I don't think that's how sites like Reddit and YouTube and Facebook work.
Mm-hmm.
So especially like YouTube, there's people that create content. I don't know that they go through and leave a lot of votes and comments and want to spend a bunch of time watching other people's content. And on the flip side, I think there's a lot of people that just enjoy going and watching videos, and they don't want to have a bunch of money invested in it to be able to like a video every now and then or leave a comment every now and then.
Exactly.
And so it seems almost prohibitively expensive just to be a kind of a lurker and leave comments and likes here and there.
Yeah. It's like I'm on Reddit a lot, and they always have all these different postings about people who are on Reddit and they're the backbone of Reddit, but they never post anything. All they do is just kind of lurk, like you said.
Yeah.
So that wouldn't work on a site like this.
Yeah, you'd be sitting with like extremely low Steam power.
Yeah.
And even if you saw something you wanted to comment on it, you wouldn't have enough power to comment on it.
That wouldn't mean anything. You could like it, and it could really do nothing.
And I don't think it's feasible to expect like everyone to turn into a content creator.
Yeah.
On the site.
I don't think you'd want that as a.
Yeah, it seems like it'd get really flooded.
Yeah, it'd be really flooded, and the quality would just be really bad.
Yeah.
So that's a major issue. The other thing I was thinking about, one of the questions I had is, where is it? Oh, is putting currency behind social media a good thing?
Well, that's what all the blockchains I've seen doing.
Yeah.
Well, that's what they're all trying to do, and yeah, I don't know. That's what I'm wondering if this stuff can work, because as I mentioned to you before the video started, niche audiences are going to be hard to support.
Yeah.
Because they're never going to get very much money. If it's something like advanced math, or if something like a Facebook community page where you just want to talk to your family, or you have a wedding coming up or something, like I don't think those things are going to be replaced by a system like this, because you're going to have to use like, I mean, it might be called Steam Power or something when you're in the system, and it might try to feel gamified, but really you're using money in some sense whenever you're doing it.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like if you have just a small audience that you like to be a part of, it's not going to take off on a platform like this.
Yeah, which is going to make it so that anyone creating content is trying to appeal to as broad of audiences possible that they think they can attract.
Yeah. Like personally, I like, for example, YouTube, where you go on and you can find all these different channels and like stuff like we're doing, for example. And it doesn't matter if we make a big impact. It doesn't matter if we make money off of it. We're just doing it because we like to do it.
Yeah.
And on a site like Steemit, it would be more of, well, is this going to make me money? Is this going to get me upvotes? Is this going to do X, Y, and Z? It's just kind of taking the creativity almost out of all the postings.
Yeah, I agree. It's just making them basically marketing in a sense.
Yeah.
Or can they figure out some way to get the most customers?
Yeah, it almost seems like they're just buying your votes.
Yeah.
Which I personally don't like. I mean, maybe it appeals to certain types of people, which if it works for them, great. But I personally am not a huge fan of that.
On the other hand, it feels like YouTube's kind of become that too.
In some sense. But it's not as blatant.
Yeah. And maybe that's why all this content's about Steemit and things, because that's the audience right now, and so that's what generates all the money.
Yeah.
And then one of the big issues that I saw with Steemit, I think could be a big hole, is in their white paper they said that part of the way that the system is going to work is that they expect the people with the most Steam power to not abuse the system and to use it as they've intended them to use it, because that's going to make the website work in the best way. And the people with the most Steam power are going to be wanting the system to work in the best way so that Steam has the most value. Which does make some sense. And I could see that being the case probably for a lot of people, but then there's a lot of people that I could see as opportunists who just want to get in and get a bunch of money and then get out.
Yeah.
And so they're not going to care if the system works. They're just going to game the system. And that was the thing, is like you can just go in and vote for yourself and leave comments on your own page. And they're like, well, people won't want to do that though, because then the community isn't very good and people won't want to use it. But you don't need, I mean, it just takes one person to go and do that on their own channel. And then once they've built it up really big, they can leave and take a bunch of value with them.
Yeah.
And
then, it almost like they're trying to create such a decentralized platform that they're almost overdoing it, and they're making it to where it's going to fail. That's almost the sense I get.
Well, and like if you ever go and look at YouTube drama stuff,
YouTube drama?
Yeah, like between the different creators or things that have happened on different channels. It seems like a lot of YouTube creators that are very successful aren't necessarily the most stable people.
Yeah.
And a lot of them...
We're never going to be successful.
Yeah. So for one, they're not necessarily all the most stable people, and then two, a lot of them want to go and do something else eventually too. Like it's a great thing to be a YouTube star for a while, and then they have other aspirations. So I don't know, Steemit expecting people to get more and more invested the bigger that they get. In that sense too, like for one, you're assuming somebody's thinking really logically, and you might have big creators that aren't thinking logically at all and are shooting themselves in the foot anyway. And then when people decide they want to do something else, why not just try to churn out as much money from it as you can until you it's just easy to leave comments and likes and stuff on your own videos, and they're worth a lot of money because you have a lot of money, and it ends up just giving you more value.
It just seems like it's a good idea, but for a small platform of people. I don't think this would ever take off with a broad audience because it's so centralized to blockchain enthusiasts, you might say.
So do you think this is a good use of the blockchain technology?
I think it's a necessary use of the blockchain technology for this type of platform, because if you are giving people money based off of content and curating, what they call it, basically upvoting, you have to have some type of public ledger to keep track of everything. So I think it's a necessary use of blockchain. But what I thought was interesting about this is that on their website they had a description of the Steem blockchain, and they had the difference between Steem and Bitcoin. Did you see that?
No, I don't remember seeing that.
So it says that on a technical level, they're the same model of the blockchain, but the difference is, Steem is based on a new state-of-the-art blockchain technology called graphene, which uses witnesses instead of miners to produce blocks.
Right.
So these witnesses, they had 20, I believe they're humans, witnesses, who have a delegated proof of, what is it? What was it called? The
proof of brain?
Yeah, proof of brain, proof of stake. And every 3 seconds, they have 20 full-time people working on this witnessing, and they have an extra one person who is a extra witness. And so every 3 seconds, they're producing a new block, I believe. And to me, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems that if you have people as the witnesses, doesn't that kind of negate the decentralized aspect?
Yeah, in a sense that it does again. If you're relying on this particular company to have 20 people hired to be checking this all the time.
Yeah, so it's 20 full-time witnesses. I'm assuming that's 20 people. It could be, maybe it's an algorithm, I don't know. And then a backup witness.
Yeah, so in our last video about Alice, they had to have other people hired to track the private information on a separate database.
Yep.
And now on this one, I forgot they had to have 20 people or something to check, to add blocks. So it seems like these are not doing a great job at actually being decentralized.
Yeah. And the community elects witnesses to act as the network's block producers and governance body. That's what they had written down. And you can vote for these witnesses. So, I don't know, what's your take on how well it uses the blockchain?
I think it's pretty interesting. So this idea hadn't occurred to me about using the content and the witnesses to add blocks to the blockchain as opposed to what do you call it? Like mining, like solving the puzzles.
The algorithms.
What's that?
Are you thinking of the
Well, usually they add a block by solving some complicated puzzle.
Yeah, the miners.
Yeah, and they call it mining.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is like an alternative way to do it. So I do find that to be pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And I would really like to see one of these succeed. I think that social media is a good use of the blockchain. I just, with all the problems we've talked about already, I haven't seen anything that's addressed all that.
Yeah.
Or to make it feel kind of the same as Facebook or YouTube or Twitter or Reddit. I don't know, any of those things. Where would you rate this company on a scale from 1 to 10?
Okay, so my reaction rating would honestly be a 2. I would probably give it a 1, but I just kind of like the idea of blockchain and social media, so that's why it's a 2. What about you? What's your rating?
I think I'm about the same. I'm at a 2. It's frustrating because coming across those news articles we saw that this company had already kind of gone downhill in November. Yeah. So we weren't able to see that happen or to give it maybe a more unbiased view if we hadn't seen that already happen. But I feel like this particular company is already kind of falling apart. Yep. The one that I worked at was certainly just barely hanging on, barely able to pay its employees. The community was, not very strong. And I unfortunately have a feeling that this is kind of going the same way. It might hold on for a long time, but I don't think it's ever going to blow up and get a huge community.
Yeah. There are a few other things that, since we're talking about the rating, why I have it so low. Unlike most social media websites, if you lose your account or password, you can recover it. With Steemit, it's gone. There's no way to recover your account if you lose your password or the owner key.
Actually, I almost feel like that's a drop in the bucket of just how complicated it is.
Exactly.
Like that's another reason it's...
So that, right off the bat, that's one of the first things you have to deal with. And another thing that I thought was really strange is that I clicked on a video to watch it, and it took me to another website.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If I'm on a website, I want to stay on that website to watch the video. I don't want to go to, I think it was like block 3 or something. It took me to another website, and I stopped watching that video, and I had to backclick to get back to Steemit. It was really strange.
Yeah, that's pretty annoying. I think I watched a video and looked at a couple of articles, and I don't remember that happening to me. So I don't know if that's only some of the videos, maybe.
It might be, yeah. But again, I'm comparing Steemit to YouTube, and that's like my gauge. And I've never had that on YouTube where
I completely
agree. A whole other website.
Yeah, because you want to be able to see the comments, make comments, likes. Like, is that even going to work through a different website, or are you getting transferred somewhere else completely? And then like all the other video recommendations, everything. You don't want to be on another platform all of a sudden.
Yeah.
That you aren't even using.
That was really strange.
So that was the Steemit platform, a social media and blogging website run off of a blockchain. Please remember again to like and subscribe and leave us a comment.
Thanks, guys.